plays games with Jay.
Monokuma should already know that's sorry for what we're thinking. Great way to start this episode. God damn. So why did he
say that?
Shut up. We have to decide on our own whether or not we want to leave Jabberwock Island. He should already know that we never choose to stay on this island.
So what are we gonna do? Can we start already?
But what are we even looking for? Do we just have to investigate this weird-ass building?
Even so, I don't think we'll find the answers to all our questions inside this damn building. Well, I'll just go on ahead for now.
Hey, you're already going?
What is that idiot thinking, running ahead without being cautious?
She obviously isn't thinking about anything.
It will be fine. There will no longer be any situations where we must exchange each other's lives. So we should do our best as well. Like they say, it is not scary if everyone stops at a green light.
If we stopped at the green light, we never reach our goal.
Akane already took off on her own. It might be faster if we split up and look around, too. Like Sonia said, if there's no more killing, we don't have to worry about anyone betraying us anymore.
Then, let's get this over with and go home.
I'll go on ahead. I'll see you guys later.
With those brief words, Fuyuhiko left the gymnasium.
I shall do my best to obtain a wonderful clue that will be useful to everyone. Now then, please excuse me.
Sonia took a deep bow and then left the gymnasium. Miss Sonia, please don't leave me. I'll be in danger if I'm left alone. Kazuichi chased after Sonia, who had just departed, and left the gymnasium.
On all fours, barking like a dog.
I should hurry and start too. Just a bit more. Just a bit more, and it's going to end. I can escape this nightmare and return to my usual peaceful everyday life. I want to screenshot this and just be like, this is how I'm feeling. But finally, no more murder in Danganronpa. The only thing we can do is advance toward that hope. Even though I don't understand, and that a lot of horrifying things keep happening. For the sake of everyone who couldn't make it this far, I'm definitely going to go home. Hello?
Hello?
Whoa, but I don't have a room. Where do you go?
To the Matrix.
Oh, God. Okay. Whoa, wait, we're on the 5th floor? What? Huh? That's weird. This is the hallway I walked through to get to the gymnasium, but it's clearly different. Is this Monokuma's doing, too? Is he trying to confuse us again? I don't know how he's doing it, but he keeps doing it over and over again. He's so persistent. I'm not gonna fall for his trap. There's no way this will make me back down. Whoa, this is crazy. Where should I check out? How familiar. Is this a dojo? It's full of strange things that make me think there's no way we're inside a school. Perhaps it's a mistake to expect the inside of this building to make sense. What is this? Is this some manga? The title is Manga for Morons, A History of Hope's Peak Academy by Monokuma? Why is a manga with such a suspicious looking title laying out in the open like this?
Pooh-hoo-hoo! Let's start with history first, class. Reading manga is the third best way to learn about history. Then what's the first, you ask? That depends on the person.
So just as I thought, Monokuma made this. That totally explains how suspicious it looks. I really want to just ignore it, but there's no way I can do that. Fine, I'll look at it. I'll look at anything that might be a clue to getting out of here, no matter what it is. I picked up the manga off the floor and started flipping through the pages. It's an introduction to Hope's Peak Academy's history, as narrated by the cutesy character on the cover. The story begins with an introduction to Hope's Peak Academy. Hope's Peak Academy is a government-funded school of privilege where only the most talented high school students can hope to attend. Built to raise hope in the nation's future, many of its alumni are key leaders of various industries. New students are chosen through a scouting process, but the ones who scout them are Host Peak Academy's teachers, who serve as both educators and researchers of talent. Host Peak Academy isn't just a school for talent, it is also a school for researching talent as well. However, for the past few years, Host Peak Academy has been suffering from a decline in funding. If this persists, the Academy believes that they will not be able to make progress with their research of talent. So they decide to implement a new system, the Reserve Department. Unlike the main department, who scouts for students, and the Reserve Department utilizes a general entrance exam.
I'd love to see the paneling of how this is all conveyed in this manga.
Yeah, right? Is this... This sounds like fucking like Togashi and his like 70 pages of like Hunter x Hunter Greed Island card explanations, or
Right.
like I'm sorry for everyone out there, but any Jujutsu Kaisen cursed energy attack explanation. This sounds like a nightmare. Normal faculty was hired and placed in charge of looking after the Reserve Department. The expenses and exam fees for the Reserve Department are quite high compared to most high schools. Nevertheless, Host Peak Academy received an endless stream of applicants. Host Peak Academy was now available to talentless commoners, people who only cared about the brand. With this, Host Peak Academy managed to amass sizable funds and began further research of talent. To create Host Peak Academy's earnest wish, a true genius who would become mankind's hope. But just when they thought everything was going well, an unprecedented incident occurred. The incident that triggered the tragedy, the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. That's right, it was the tragedy of Host Peak Academy. Host Peak Academy was crippled by this incident and was forced to shut down without accomplishing anything. The end. Huh? The ending was so sudden, like a manga that's suddenly canceled in the middle of its run. Plus, these phrases mentioned at the end of this manga, the tragedy and the tragedy of Host Peak Academy, these names are so melodramatic. There's no way these incidents really happened, right? This manga only mentions the names, so I don't really know the details, but no, it'd just be a waste of time to wonder about things that don't make sense. More importantly, I learned something because of this manga. The Reserve Department. The department that was only built to collect money. I was one of those Reserve Corps students, right?
That's weird.
Oh, you're here again.
The thing that's weird is you, of course.
Huh?
Why did you forget that you were part of the Reserve Department? The Future Foundation only took away your school life memories, right? But you should have known even before you entered that you had no talent, right? So, I think it's weird that you actually forgot something like that, too.
What do you want me to say?
Based on my assumption, the Future Foundation must have wanted to hide the fact that you were one of those Reserve Corps students. Or, you willingly sealed those memories yourself.
Huh?
You wanted to be confident in yourself, so you wanted to forget everything that embarrassed you. You know, when humans experience trauma, sometimes they erase their memory of what happened. It happens pretty often, not that I know anything about that, though.
Are you saying it's my fault I forgot? That's not it.
When things get inconvenient, you always get angry and try to brush it off. Well, that's expected of a Reserve Corps student.
Damn it, what the heck? Okay. Will this locker open? Okay. Oh. Can't go inside there. Interesting. These classrooms are blocked. This one isn't. 5A.
A violin.
This is another manga. It's laying on top of the desk. This one is Manga for Morons, The Tragedy of Host Peak Academy. Huh. Wasn't the tragedy of Host Peak Academy mentioned in that other manga too? It's why Host Peak Academy went bankrupt, and it was a trigger for the biggest, most tragic, most awful event in human history. If I read this manga, will I be able to learn a little more about that incident? I took the manga from the desk and started flipping through the pages. to see what I can learn about the event known as the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. The story made heavy use of outdated stylized drawings depicting characters solving mysteries. What's written here is, as the name suggests, the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy occurred at Hope's Peak Academy. The key player in that event was a student named Izuru Kamukura. Izuru was a genius known as a symbol of hope. Hope's Peak Academy used all their resources to develop him. Supposedly, Izuru was a genius among geniuses and possessed various talents. Wielding superior talent for the hope of mankind, the Academy referred to Izuru as the ultimate hope. To protect such rare talent, the Academy completely concealed all evidence of Izuru's origins and identity. Because of that, most of the students at the Academy were completely unaware of Izuru's existence. But Izuru, who was known as the ultimate symbol of hope, was responsible for a horrible incident. 13 students of Hope's Peak Academy's student council, among the Academy's best and brightest, were brutally murdered by Izuru. However, the incident did not end there. The Academy tried to protect Izuru's superior talent and conceal the incident as though it never happened. However, a certain student began working in secret to use that incident to their advantage. That student uncovered what the Academy did, and by making that knowledge public, it stoked the fires of Reserve Corps students who had long been dissatisfied with how they'd been treated, and the uprising began. And that heralded Hope's Peak Academy's destruction. This is the entirety of the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. Eventually, that incident will lead to that horrifying, devastating incident. The incident that would be known as the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. Works cited, Danganronpa 0. With a heavy sigh, I closed the manga. Also, this is the first time Danganronpa was mentioned in either game, right? Like the word?
I believe so.
Wasn't... Yeah, I don't... Okay. Am I supposed to believe this? There's no way 13 people were killed at Hope's Peak Academy. Well, let's go find out.
What irony! For a genius known as the ultimate hope to cause such a gruesome incident. A talent like that is too regal for society. It's like trying to buy juice with a bar of gold. You should be lucky that you're incompetent.
Damn it. He always has to lead up to something offensive. He seriously pisses me off. But ultimate hope. Nagito mentioned that before too, but it looks like it means something completely different here. What Nagito said was the true meaning of hope, but for Izuru, hope simply means talent. More importantly, a genius who possesses various talents. I wish they'd given me one of those talents so I didn't have to be in the reserve department. That's right, the reserve department. Here, it said that the reserve corps students in the reserve department began uprising. Then what about me? Was I a participant too? No, that's not possible. There's no way. I have no reason to do something like that. Okay. Anyway, I've learned about the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy, but the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history is a far worse incident, right? What kind of incident was it? And who's this other student that isn't Izuru? A certain student who secretly used the incident to their advantage? Who is that? This incident is really messed up, but all it's doing is raising more questions. The mysteries just keep piling up. That's interesting. Some context for that murder room in Danganronpa 1. Okay. I'm guessing... I believe the room is here. Can we go inside? No, it's not letting us. Interesting. Whoa. What in the Matrix hell? What the hell is with this room? It's freaking cold in here. It's like I'm in a freezer or something. If I just stand still, I might end up freezing to death. I should hurry up and investigate so I can get out of here already. I open one of these refrigerators and it's like, who is this guy? And it's fucking Leon. I'm like, whatever.
Seems like a chump.
Yeah.
Seems like someone I'll forget when I need to head count all the people in that game.
Yeah. There's another manga just laying around here. This time the title is Manga for Morons, the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history? I knew it. The next one would obviously be about this incident. The biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history, huh?
God.
Oh,
My event in human history can't be this awful and big and tragic.
Just, what was that incident really all about? It might turn out to be something lame. I flipped through the pages of the manga, and I hoped that I was right. A story about creepily drawn characters who get involved in such horrifying incidents. An incident known as the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. Is this drawn so grotesquely because the incident itself is that grotesque? Anyway, the beginning of this creepy manga starts with this sentence.
How many times do you think the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history is going to be in this?
In this text?
In this section here.
Oh,
Make a bet.
Oh, God.
I'm going to say 8 times.
I'm going to say 5.
Okay.
The tragedy of Hope Speak Academy was simply the trigger. At first, the uprising by the reserve corps students that triggered the tragedy of Hope Speak Academy was initially hoped to be resolved quickly, but the situation continued to escalate to dangerous extremes. The movement started spreading all over the internet and fostered a thriving online community. The community was not limited to students, and people of various races and nations began joining in. But the movement was not confined to the internet and began spreading and eroding the real world. When the movement started, it was indistinguishable from any other demonstration inspired by social unrest. But as it spread across the world, certain abnormalities soon came to light. By then it was too late. The ends and the means had vanished, and wanton destruction became their only goal. The strong butchered the weak killed the weakest among them, and soon the weak formed factions to brutally murder the strong. As the violence and death continued to spread, the shock of their actions began to disappear, as if the era was regressing to more uncivilized times, when senseless deaths were the norm. The media was oversaturated with deaths to the point where people would watch them while enjoying a meal. By the time the world realized what it had become, it was too late to stop what had happened. A feeling of immense despair began spreading and eventually engulfed the world. Acts of terrorism, coups d'etats began occurring around the world. A war waged in the name of despair. A war fought not for principles, religion, or personal gain, just war. Pure war. And because of that, there was no way to resolve it. How could a movement started by high school students progress to such a hopeless scenario? The only explanation is the existence of a certain organization, devoted to a certain student who influenced Hope Speak Academy, a group called Ultimate Despair. Instead of using Hope Speak Academy's talents for the sake of mankind's hope, they used them for the sake of mankind's despair. Key members of society used their influence to brainwash the masses in order to spread despair. Tech-savvy computer programmers who wrote software to spread despair. The powerful and influential created new values and morals to spread despair. And with this, they created the tragedy, the biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. Number 1. As long as the ultimate despair exists, the despair engulfing the world will never end. The tragedy will never end.
Well, just one time.
Oh, okay. My heart was racing in my chest, but my body felt ice cold. And it wasn't because I was freezing in this room. Number 2. The biggest, most awful, most tragic event in human history. This is definitely all made up. I mean, if this is all really true, then what's happening in the outside world? My family, my friends, the convenience store I frequent, the nearby bookstore, my favorite restaurant. What's happened to them?
Hey, are you seriously yelling at a manga? How crazy are you?
Who would enjoy reading something like this?
Oh my, you don't like manga? A high school student who doesn't like manga is like an office lady who doesn't like to eat candy.
Enough. What is this messed up manga?
I thought you'd obviously know about such a horrible event that destroyed the world, but... For you not to remember that? Such despair. That's the Future Foundation's fault, though, thanks to them stealing your school memories. The incident that happened during that period has been completely removed from your brains.
This incident really happened, and I actually forgot about it? There's no way that's possible.
How many times do I have to tell you? All the clues here are real. Please understand I'm rooting for you. If you don't learn about the full extent of the outside world, you guys will suffer for it. I just want to help you guys so you can live well-adjusted lives in the outside world.
I see. So that's how it is. That's what he meant by what he said at the beginning.
I'm conflicted. I wanted you to graduate, but I'm worried about you in the outside world.
He's trying to make us feel despair toward the outside world, so we'll want to stay on this island. But there's no way I'm gonna do what he wants. Despair like that simply can't exist. The outside world should be filled with hope, just like now. Perhaps? No, that's definitely it. The tragedy. Whether or not this incident really happened, what in the world is this ultimate despair group? If they're devoted to a certain student who guided Hope Speak Academy to its destruction, are they connected to both the tragedy and the tragedy of Hope Speak Academy? Plus, that organization isn't just one person, but a group of people. But if they're known as the ultimate despair, they're high school students, right? Well, if they were actually able to do it, then I guess that's why they're called ultimates. Then, are the killings we're involved in connected to them as well? It's no use. I'm gonna freeze to death. I'm at limit. I need to get out of here. Shivering, I ran out of the freezing room. Phew, that was close. I nearly froze to death. So where should I go next? I thought we checked out every room that we're able to check out. Like, I can't go inside here. We can't go inside the plant room. Right? No? We've already went inside the dojo. And we couldn't check out both classrooms. Oh wait, 5B wasn't open before. No, I should ignore it. I'm just gonna pretend I don't see it. I didn't see him.
It's like encountering someone from when in high school at a grocery store.
Yeah.
When I went inside this room, that bastard bear was suddenly here. He keeps glancing at me.
I wonder why.
It's gonna be shitty either way. So I'll let you handle it. There's no way I'm gonna deal with that idiot.
I don't want to do that either. Guess I'll talk to him.
Why, hello, Hajime. I hope you're doing pleasingly well. Are you pleasingly well? You're pleasingly well, right?
What are you doing here?
Well, there was another thing I needed to tell you on this floor. I got bored of drawing manga. Can you forgive me for telling you by word of mouth?
You should have done that from the beginning. I didn't want to read your manga in the first place.
A high school student who doesn't like manga is like a sumo wrestler who doesn't like eating hot pots.
I'm getting real fed up with your blabbering. Hurry up. What did you need to tell me?
It's about that key piece of information you've been waiting so long for. Surprise! It's about ultimate despair.
Huh?
Even though the term ultimate despair refers to a group these days, it was originally the title for a high school girl who was the most powerful, evil, and feared person alive.
A high school girl?
Lady Junko Enoshima.
Junko Enoshima?
As the former ultimate despair, she created a despair brimming with charm and humor, and created the ultimate despairs. There was one really horrible person in that group.
Hold on a sec. I don't know what the ultimate despairs are, but it's not that easy to form an organization. There's no way people would join some fucked up organization created by a high school girl.
Humans who are obsessed with their philosophy have an uncanny power to attract others. It's a trait shared by many famous leaders throughout history, right? There's nothing strange about it. That holds true for Lady Junko. With her charismatic ability to attract people, she even influenced those in the highest echelons of power. Her connections were the main reason that incident became the tragedy in the first place.
So she even recruited people who would have been in a position to neutralize the threat?
Then what was their purpose?
What?
Well, like I said, why did they cause that incident? It doesn't even make sense. They had a purpose, right? There's no way they do what they did without any purpose.
It was Junko Enoshima's despair.
Huh?
For Junko Enoshima, despair isn't about purpose, a set of principles, a way of life, or an instinct. Despair is what defines Junko Enoshima as Junko Enoshima.
What are you saying?
I'm a stuffed plushie. Hajime is a human. It's exactly like that. Junko Enoshima is full of so much despair that she's truly hopeless. Living, dying, eating, loving, for her everything is despair.
What the hell?
With her overwhelming force of personality, Junko recruited the ultimate despairs one by one. She controlled their despair by taking advantage of their love, hate, grudges, anything really. Junko's despair is far more dreadful than any other. That idea had been slammed right into their minds. And so, the ultimate despairs who had been recruited became nothing more than Junko's limbs. All despair, whether it was their own or anyone else's, was dedicated to Junko Enoshima. Like believers making offerings to their god, like a mother providing food to her children. They dedicated all despair so they could escape from despair, all in Junko Enoshima's name. For example, they killed their families and friends and even destroyed their bodies through relentless mutilation. And to hopelessly top it off, they completely believed it was something that they had to do.
There's no way something like that crazy is possible.
Do you know about the final days of the reserve corps students during the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy?
Final days?
Junko has the power to change people's values. This is also true of famous people throughout history.
Hey, what do you mean final days? What happened to the reserve department?
They fulfilled their role as disposable limbs. They believed in what they needed to do. And so, the 2,357 students of the reserve department all committed mass suicide.
Whoa. Mass suicide?
All 2,357 students?
Oops, it wasn't all of them. One person was excluded.
One person was excluded, huh? Is that me?
I don't believe it. There's no way I can believe this. Ultimate despair, Junko Enoshima. It doesn't scare me at all. I mean, Junko Enoshima is already dead.
Huh? Interesting. Hey, Fuyuhiko, is it true what you said? Junko Enoshima is really dead?
What, you didn't see? There was a book called Manga for Morons Killing School Life in that bloody classroom.
Bloody classroom? No, wait. What was that you said about the killing school life? Like the killings we were involved in, they were killings that happened at Hope's Peak Academy. As I recall, the mastermind took her own life because the remaining students worked together to defeat her.
Yeah, that's what it was. The killing school life ended up failing in the end. As a result, the 6 students who survived managed to escape from the academy. For a manga about the killing school life, it was drawn with a lot of silly images and dumb gags. According to that, the mastermind behind the failed killing school life was Junko Enoshima.
The mastermind took her own life, which means Junko Enoshima is dead.
Turns out that killing school life was part of that whole biggest, most awful whatever incident. Junko took away the memories of former students of Hope's Peak Academy and forced them to kill each other.
Former students of Hope's Peak Academy, and she took away their memories. That's just like us.
Apparently the whole thing is being filmed by surveillance cameras and broadcast worldwide. There's a limit to being a cruel asshole.
The surveillance cameras were broadcasting the whole thing?
The students of Hope's Peak Academy are widely known as symbols of hope. By forcing people to watch these symbols of hope kill each other for the sake of survival, they were trying to fill everyone who watched the broadcast with despair all at once.
That's messed up.
But that messed up plan was stopped. Junko Enoshima failed. Junko lost to the student she placed in her trap, and after being overcome by the despair she created, she took her own life.
Then Junko is no more.
No matter how horrible she was, there's no reason to fear someone who's dead. Whether Monokuma's story is true or not doesn't matter. Junko Enoshima isn't alive anymore.
Then, who is our enemy? If Junko Enoshima is already dead, are the rest of the Ultimate Despairs behind this? Are the followers of Junko carrying out her will? That's the only thing I can think of. I mean, the killings were involved in were were involved in wait, what? The killings were
involved in resemble.
oh,
that
revolved in resembled that killing school life.
Well, I don't know who the hell is imitating Junko, making us go through this, but an imitation is just that, an imitation. If the students from Hope Peak Academy stop the real deal, there's no way we'll lose to some fake.
But if this is really an imitation, are those surveillance cameras the same too? The cameras all over Jabberwock Island. Are they broadcasting this somewhere just like the surveillance cameras during this killing school life? Okay.
Man, Hajime, you totally know about that story, huh?
What? Do you have a problem with that?
Well, I really wanted you to read the manga version since I took the time to draw it. Oh well, I'll just raise the flag.
Flag? What do you mean raise the flag? What's gonna happen if you do that?
One step at a time. You're getting closer to clearing my character out.
You're not making sense again.
Now then, I'll give you guys my all. I'll tell you everything I know, including information on the outside and the inside. I'll raise them flags like crazy.
I guess we'll figure out what Monokuma has to say next time?
No!